go. Hi everyone, I'm here. Sorry I'm late. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. So hopefully this is all going. Hi Baker Living. Mommy Milestones is here. Welcome to the chat. You guys all having a good time today? We had a heck of a day. So we decided to go to an open house at the Sugar Bush Supplies, and the kids really were excited to go. Everybody is around me today. They're playing Wii right behind me, all trying to be quiet. Hopefully we'll get through this without George screaming too much. So, big highlights for the day. Of course, we, got ready to go, fed the animals, took care of the farm stuff. I'm just hanging out on the couch now because, boy, I got home. I had to rush to get all of my farm chores done. So the animals are fed, and I have to still go out and go give them dinner again before it gets dark. So we can't go on and on about this too long, but I wanted to do a live stream. It's finally time to get in here and figure all this out and tell everybody hi. Hi. So, back to the highlights. Flying pancakes. It's called Chris's Pancakes, or Chris's Flying Pancakes, my mom calls it. So the guy actually throws pancakes, and he's really got this really super cool system where it pours out like 4 pancakes at a time, and this whole thing just goes through probably 8 or 10 rows of pancakes all at once. And he flips them, he throws them to you. They have some serving buffets behind there where you can get your sausage, your butter, your silverware, all that. So we totally hogged down on a bunch of pancakes. And what else did we hog down on? Well, the sausage, orange juice. Oh my gosh, the kids were just drinking up the orange juice. We had a little spill. Mom comes in, wads it all up. Disposable tablecloth, super good to have. So we got some supplies. Mom's getting ants in her pants about doing maple syrup. There were a lot of supplies that I wanted to get in the spring that I didn't get to do because of funding. Daddy Milestones was saying no in the finance department. And the roads around here this spring and late winter when we were doing maple syrup got pretty sketchy on the roads. And to get over to Mason, the Sugar Bush Supplies is just outside of Okemos. That highway has had so many accidents lately that we just decided it would be better to have Dad pick it up when he got by there instead of trying to make a special trip. We never made it. So through the summer, after doing all the sugaring that we did this spring, we kind of got into thinking, well, maybe we wanted to do some more. So supply-wise, I got maple syrup tubing. We are going to be doing 3/16" tubing down that deep slope, 3/16" taps. And this is something that is, still fairly new. George has got a battery. He gets a hold of the TV remote and he knows how to take that cover off. Yeah. Want to say hi? Here you go. Say hi. Hi. Yeah. You see yourself? That's right. That's a little happier boy. Yeah. That's right. George just is learning to high five people. And he gave me my first high five the other day. High five for me? Yay. Good job. Trey's here for a high five. So we decided there's a video coming up with the milk tank. So I got around to getting the milk tank all finished like I wanted to do when we brought it home. Things get kind of out of hand around here, and this really has been the spring cleaning year that just never stopped in spring. It just kept going. So recently you probably saw we had the video where I showed that we had been cleaning off the driveway and he was making skids to move all that heavy stuff out of the way. So everything is moved now. and we don't have to worry about getting in and out in the snow or the flooding in the yard when spring comes and the snow melts. The flooding is one thing that we kind of have to work on still, because I am taking care of the drain for the sump pump. It goes out into the yard. Betty. So we have to bury dig a trench and bury the pipe that goes from the sump pump out into the backyard, because we tend to forget, hey, we have to get this hooked up. And it's nice to just have it on the surface and not worry about it. But I have solid pipe that we bought for drain tile, and not just the perforated kind. So we can run it right out, have it buried, and just be done with it and never have to worry about, oh, hey, it melted overnight and it's flooding and going back around the basement into that concrete ramp that I showed you. Hi, Mr. Colley. How are you? So we want to get that done to take care of that flooding. But, you know, it's been a really wet fall. So we're kind of worried that, hey, is this going to be a super bad winter? Here's a neat little trick I learned. Those little brown and black caterpillars, if you see a lot of those around, they say it's going to be a hard winter. And I remember seeing a lot of those last year and the year before. Oh, guys. So, I haven't seen a lot of those. We had a lot of crickets and grasshoppers even last year, and not as many. But it's just been such a wet, hard fall that if it is a bad winter and, you know, another mess in the spring, I want to have my driveway taken care of. I want to have maple tubing where we can in those wet, muddy areas, because it can be so hard to collect it. Where are you going? Oh, I see you. George has learned he likes to stand on the couch and jump. The toy box is behind me, and he learned he can climb up on it and dive right down. Not safe. Yes, but it keeps him so busy. And this guy, yes, he has been teething. Little guy I noticed yesterday right over here. He's got another little tooth coming in. That's about, that's about maybe the 8th tooth that's coming in, 7 or 8. Whoa. So we are mapping out the woods. We've been going for some walks this last week or so, and I've been highlighting my trees with the highlighter paint and marking which ones we're going to tap. Hi. So I do, you can do 1 or 2 dots to show, or however many dots you want, to help speed things up when you are doing your taps. Hi. Or we can just go ahead and tap it as we go. But it's just nice to have that mark on the tree, because the kids are not as good at identifying the trees. And I've tapped trees that were not maple trees in the beginning, because everyone's a little bit different. As they're young, they have very smooth bark, and as they get older, they get rough bark. He is being a sucker, isn't he? Climbing all over me. We probably did about 7 or 8 boils of maple syrup last year. And we have a maple syrup evaporator now, so we can get that set up. Hopefully we'll have a project with getting that bricked here real soon and be able to use that, because the gallons per hour that I can evaporate on that versus the flat pan that I've been using will speed things up a lot and make it a lot easier. So that dairy tank I've been working on is an 800-gallon retired dairy bulk tank, and 800 gallons of sap. We generally run 2 to 4% sugar in our sap, and that's going to be a lot of syrup. We brought home from the event today a couple of cases of bottles. You need to go bye-bye. Could you get him a little snack or something to keep him busy?
Sure.
Thank you. That'd be great. Oh, what you want? You want to get a snack? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Trey is a great big brother. He helps with this guy all the time, unconditionally. He just likes to be there with him and take care of him. They're all good brothers. They like to help. Somebody was getting ready to attack the computer. Lots of water after all that today. I feel like I had a lot of salt and sugar with everything that we had going on. Okay, so what's going on in the farm right now? Well, we have the open house for the maple syrup up on the counter, getting what he needs. We're doing the last harvesting of the hay, putting hay away. Of course, there's animal chores to do all the time. So we have a handful of pigs, a couple dozen cows, cattle. There are only 2 cows, 2 heifers, and a young bull. And then we've got the big bull, and we have that auction herd of steers and bulls that are all together. Baker Living, do we name our animals? That's a good question. We name some of our animals. The auction steers, they kind of got names as they came, but they were in the barn and then they were in the pasture. And when they were in the barn, it was kind of easy. They were small bulls and I could feed them. They were divided into a pen of 6 animals and 4 bulls separately. And the small ones, I actually went in there and I petted them and talked to them and stuff like that. So there were 2 white ones that had speckly noses. So they just both got called Freckles, real friendly when we first got them. And as they got a little older, they seemed to dominate the herd a little bit more. Betty, shh. She's getting all excited about her game. So our cows all have names. Flower, Clover. We have Diesel is the bull that was born last year. And we have Chocolate is our big bull. And I say Daisy. So there are quite a few that have names. My pigs up front, when my baby girl pigs were born, they all got, under Jack's suggestion, names that have to do with like America. So one of them is Liberty. Mostly it's easier to identify them by their ear notches. So we notch their ears so that we know who's who, because after, they gain or lose weight as they're growing, it's hard to kind of differentiate who's who. So the ear notching works well with that. But yeah, the bulls, I call them like number 69 or 68 or 70 because they came from the auction. They've all got ear tags. And it's just easier to identify those cattle by that. The big pigs are Wilbur and Willow. So if you've seen any updates on the pigs, they have those names. And of course the chickens. Right now, none of the chicken pigs. I actually have been kind of sorting through the chickens a little bit, and we've got that 100 chickens that were delivered, which I just wanted to say, this time of year, keep your animals safe. Ducks were getting picked off one by one, and they really, really need to be kept a close eye on. So I'm not letting them. It's just too noisy. Trey brought him Miller wafers in a noisy bag. Sorry. It's like somebody eating potato chips next to you. Thank you. So do go back up. Do their names have meanings? Well, no. They don't. Not at all. And my kids they just were named after names that we liked. And with all of the animals, all the names were pretty instant. We didn't kind of ha and ha about it. You just kind of see them and knew a name. My husband went to another farm and came home with 4 cattle. Flower was one of them. And he just started rattling off names of things that he looked at. And the same thing with the pigs. He named them like Switch, Machine,
House and Flower.
House and Flower. Those were the first 4 cows. Yep. So Flower is getting older. We have been here 7 years now. So
she's our oldest cow.
She is going to be 7 years old. We got her when she was probably 400 pounds. And gosh, keeping the weight on her is so hard. We've had so much heavy rain that the girl she's nursing the baby still. The babies are all a year old. And say hi to Juliet. Hi, Daphne. Hi, Juliet.
Hi, Daphne. Hi, Juliet.
Hi, Wendell. Hi, Irene.
Hi, Wendell.
Are you there, Ron? Hi to you too.
Hi,
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Maybe Alan Peterson will show up today, or Cosmo. Say hi to everybody. Warren McKnight, I expect you to drop in and say hi.
Hi, Mom.
Yes, Tracy, homesteading. Need to see you too. Oh, she says hi. We're here.
Yep, we're here.
Yes. Everyone's here. Bethy likes us a lot. George is waiting too. So, yeah, we've been here. I keep thinking in my head we've been here 5 or 6 years. And my husband reminds me, we've been here 7 years now. So, yeah, kind of things coming up. I have been doing some things. We have mostly been working on equipment lately. And if you're regular to the channel, we appreciate your watching. And if you're not, check out some of the older videos. My husband likes to run the old John Deere 2-cylinder tractors. What now? What? My goodness, you can't hold still. So he got for me a John Deere 40. And we have a 60 and we have a 70. But generally the 3-digit numbers, they're a little bit newer, have more options. And generally, the higher the number, the more pulling power it has and power steering. He got me a 40. It doesn't have power steering. And that thing is so fussy. You get it to run. The next time you try to run it, it doesn't run. So he replaced the points or cleaned the points, put a new spark plug in it, got a new cable for the battery, bought a new battery. We ran it for a little while, parked it, and that day it just stalled out, or maybe he went back out and didn't want to start. So I can't answer that question. You know that. Moms don't have favorites. Silly.
It's the evaporator.
It's the evaporator?
Yes.
What's the evaporator?
It has a old popcorn. The evaporator.
Yes, Bethy is talking about the Sugar Bush supplies today. We went and we looked at maple syrup evaporators, and they had popcorn.
Yep. And plain pancakes.
Yep. Oh, they made
and I had big sour orange juice.
Yeah, big sour orange juice. They had cotton candy.
Yep, and have the plain candy.
And maple candy.
And maple candy, yeah.
And the cotton candy was made with maple syrup sugar too.
Yep. And seed ball.
That's right.
Yep.
Lots of neat things like that.
Yep. And some meat and some steak.
Some meat and sausage. The meat was sausage. So we had sausage links. And yeah, lots of good things.
Yep. And mushrooms. And they use the seed.
They use the what?
They cut up all of the seed.
The sheep.
Yeah.
For what? There was no sheep there. The Sugar Bush Supplies is at a dairy farm. So they're like us. They farm too. So what's my favorite part of living on a farm? Well, I like being outside, I would say, is the nicest thing. When we lived in the city, we had so many mosquitoes and neighbors all around us, and you just couldn't go outside without a neighbor interaction. And that's okay, you know, but we're not the type that our neighbors are our best friends. And it was just kind of, we had wanted to do this. And when he first told me he wanted to farm, I literally thought he was nuts. I thought, what? I didn't know he could farm. I didn't know he had always been a fuel man. You know, he drives a fuel truck. He makes local deliveries and just day stuff. He's not like a truck driver that's gone all the time. Hey, could you stop him? That's very noisy. George is smashing a measuring cup behind me. He likes to get into the cabinets a lot. And I tell you, I booby trapped all those cabinets. Put latches and locks and safeties on them, the lazy Susan, unless I want to drill a hole on the outside to put a latch on it. I hate to put a hole in the cabinet, but he empties it out. It's all just Rubbermaid plastic stuff.
This puzzle that I got from Grandpa's house.
Yeah. So being on a farm, you know, there's lots of animal work and just building maintenance and things like that. So I'm kind of feeling like taking a bit of a break on the hard work with the animals. I would kind of like to just focus on maybe the bees and the maple syrup for a little bit. I like my chickens a lot, and no matter what, I want to always have some animals, but it's a lot being out there and doing that and trying to teach these kids and supervise them and take care of the house, because it's solely me. For this husband, Betsy likes to talk a lot while we're filming. And in the movies that you guys see on YouTube, we can edit out Betsy telling her story. We try to let her talk some. So she's telling you about some puzzles that she did at the Sugar Bush Supplies today. I think, especially with like firewood, the maple syrup season doesn't stop just with maple tree tapping. So after it's all made, you know, we take a break for a while. And in the summertime, there's a lot of tree cutting, wood maintenance. Becky, there's a great big coloring book behind me at the table, and it is poster size huge. So go work on that for a little bit, and I'll you bring us a picture when you're all done, so we'll show it to everyone who's watching. Okay?
Okay.
Good idea. So we definitely consider ourselves farmers. You know, we've got like 123 acres here. It's a lot of cows, big pasture. I wouldn't call us ranchers, and definitely bigger than homesteaders. You can homestead on an acre or 5 acres or 10 acres. There's way too much here to be considered a homesteader. And we don't have vast hundreds and hundreds of acres and thousands of acres like the ranchers that are out west. You know, would I ever want to leave here for that ranch style life? I tell you, having those animals gone away from your care, there's something to be said for that. But you have miles and miles of fencing, and who knows what's going on with the wildlife doing that sort of raising animals. They call it husbandry. So our husbandry practices are all right here. I mean, my barn is 300 feet away, and the road's 300 feet that way, and my woods is another, 1,000 feet that way. And we are close enough to town that we can go for supplies instead of being off in the middle of, nowhere in Idaho or whatever. So husband has talked about moving to other areas, and he has some real estate connections in other areas. Create a great collection of pictures that were bound into a book that a realtor had taken at all these places that he's gone to lead to over the years of farms, ranches.
Some of the stuff was his.
Yep. His own farming equipment and things like that. It's really neat. And boy, I tell you, these people could just make a published book out of this. And he sent this binder to us. Somebody's sick. That's all I'm sad. I'm not really hurt, kind of crying. Oh, yes. Yeah. Play with me. I got hurt and bumped my head. He's not really hurt. Could you close the door? So, I think Michigan is a great place for what we're doing. Did you know maple syrup is not available everywhere? There's a map that you can Google and look at for where is like the maple syrup cutoff. And there's different kinds of maple trees. There's silver maple, there's swamp or black maple, red maple, sugar maple. You can tap walnut trees. If you want to sell the wood for lumber, they use it a lot for veneering. It's not greatly advised, but it is a wonderful nutty flavored syrup. And birch and box elder too, you can tap those. The seasons all kind of overlap, so by the time maple season is done, there's no way I want to start tapping anything else. Husband really respects the wood and the trees and doesn't want to get into cutting up the woods and all that. I would like some roads and some lanes to be able to go through. That's why we bought the Oliver crawler, so that we can get through the hilly areas, the rough terrain. Well, throw my stuff. And then eventually, you know, maybe more land will come up and we can grow more maple syruping. Guy here, getting hungry. So this is where we want to be. And you just kind of have to sample everything at first and see what you want to do. So farming wise, I say, you know, just start out with what you're comfortable with and kind of like add or take away from those experiences and that's like or didn't like, because it can be overwhelming, especially if your family is on you saying you're working too hard or you're doing too much. You got to do it. I mean, everyone my whole life has always told me I'm working too hard or I'm doing too much. I like to stay busy. There's nothing good for me on TV. I'm not going to watch The Bachelorette or, you know, I don't care about what's going on in the Big Brother house. I watch the news a little bit. Most of what's on the news, I don't want my kids to hear. Having to explain to them certain things because they saw it on the news. We all know the world's crazy out there. And here in my little corner of the earth, it's quiet and it's not so crazy. The beer cans alone up and down our road, I've said it over and over again. I just can't believe how much these people drink and drive around here. That's why there's a gate on my driveway. I can at least keep my kids from going out in front of a car and getting hit by somebody who's going by and they're not going to hit the brakes. They do the opposite around here. They'd hit the gas and get the heck out of here before they got caught. We're going to keep these guys safe and keep them here. So if you're going to get into homesteading, you're going to get into farming, start with a garden. Start with something little. I will tell you a nice thing to start with is pigs. If you want to save some money and raise your meat on your own, a lot of people have asked me this over the years. Raise 2 pigs together. If you've ever watched Charlotte's Web, Wilbur was depressed because he didn't have a buddy. And nobody in the barn would talk to him at first. He just laid there crying. Then eventually, you know, the sheep and the duck and, you know, everybody started talking to him, and he made friends with Charlotte, and then he was happy. And the little girl, that is one of my absolute favorites to watch. Babe is one of my other favorites to watch. When we went to the fair and the baby pigs were there, I think that was my nicest thing. I like to see those little pigs, and I think they might have been Hereford pigs. I'm not sure. But if you raise a little meat for yourself, they don't need a whole lot. And I mean, if you're buying dog food, you might as well be feeding a pig. I realize it's not the same, but you can raise up a pig. Berkshires and Hampshires are real fast growing. Yorkshire, any hybrid crosses, they can be ready full size, butcher size in 3 to 6 months. 50 cents a pound to process them. So the heavier they are, the more it's going to cost you. And I actually just talked to the neighbor across the road last week. His daughter grew pigs for 4-H, and they raised a bunch of pumpkins. So I went over, and I hadn't met the daughter before, so I introduced myself to her and asked her if we could buy some of her pumpkins. We were just out for a walk. It was just a nice little afternoon. She raised 2 pigs for 4-H. They sold them at the auction for 4-H. And if you've ever been to an animal 4-H barn, they auction them very high. And it's kind of like buying things at auction to raise money for charity. I believe the money helps the kid with their expenses. We had actually looked into it at one point, and our kids were too young for 4-H. And, you know, would we ever do 4-H? As far as showing animals, I don't think so, because there's so much risk with bringing back sickness from other animals. The pigs at the different fairs in our area. Bethany was a baby, so roughly 4 years ago. Pigs were coming home from the fair sick, and whole herds of pigs were sick, and I think it was pig influenza. Yeah, whole herds had to be either put down or die, and I don't think they had cures for them. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it was really, really bad in Ohio, and we had gone down to Chicago and met somebody, and they had sent animals to the Ohio State Fair, I think, that got real sick. So chickens, absolutely love raising a couple baby chickens. You can get them a little older. Our first chickens were Squawky and Shelfie, and that's just kind of how we name our animals. They didn't have a coop. They free ranged all over the farm. They were happy as could be. They lived through retirement. And they just died of old age. Nothing had ever gotten them or anything. I don't think we had any trouble with any raccoons and stuff, or there was just not so many animals here that it didn't attract them maybe. But we just went to go pick up some pigs from a guy, and the boys mentioned that we didn't have any chickens. So he just said, here, and he put them in a bag and sent them home with us. And that was it. Actually, it was just the one chicken. So we had saw a Craigslist ad where there was a free rooster somewhere. So I sent my husband to go pick up a rooster so that she wouldn't be all alone and have a friend. They were paired up, and they were the only ones here for the longest time. I don't think we got chickens, baby chickens, for a year or two after that. So a little bit of stuff like that. And you don't have to start with animals at all. Start by putting up a clothesline, putting in a frost-free hydrant, which I'm still waiting on. Oh my, I was at Menards the other day, and I priced a frost-free hydrant. I think it's 6 feet. Some of them were 4 feet, but our frost line in Michigan is 4 or 4.5 feet where we're at. So you have to get the 6 feet one and go a little deeper down in there. I'm running a hose every winter out there. You gotta take him away someplace else. It's recording on the screen. So if I add a frost-free hydrant out there, It'll make my winter chores a whole lot easier. Oh, you're silly. Just run up and jump. He's had like 3 naps today. Oh, getting him up early this morning and going. I don't recommend buying any baby animals, cattle that have to be bottle fed. Formula, they call it milk replacer for cows, is so expensive. You can do goats and things like that on it. I think they have to be started on grain because they get such a huge benefit from being with their mom that you can end up getting the animal, your time, your money wrapped up in this baby calf, and then it gets scours, which is basically diarrhea, and it'll get dehydrated and die, and you've got nothing. You know, there's no recourse for that. And sometimes, like if you go to auction or you go to a farmer, you know, they're separating these animals earlier and earlier from their mothers, their dames or dams. And, you know, pigs used to be 8 weeks and older to be separated from their moms. And lately it's all been 5 weeks. So if you go and start out with feeder pigs, ask how old they are or how long since they've been weaned, because sometimes they've never been weaned from their mom. They are literally taking that pig that had milk an hour ago from their mom, giving it to you and saying, here you go. So that pig's going to be squealing and making a lot of noise at your place because it's not used to being without that milk. Now, they can start on solid food a lot younger, but definitely in the farming practices, a lot of people are weaning their baby animals very, very young. George is 1 and he's not weaned. So he turned 1 recently, and most of my babies have been about 2, 2.5 when they've been fully weaned. So I don't do night weaning. We do co-sleeping. And my husband just said the other day, he's never really been woken up by a baby screaming its head off in the middle of the night, because they just roll over, they find me, they get some more milk, back to sleep they are. And it's just made life a lot less interrupted that way. So farming and homesteading is not for everybody. And you don't have to have a farm or homestead to do a lot of things we do. A lot of places do beekeeping. Some places it's against their zoning rules. Where we had moved from, you could actually have like 6 chickens in, actually you could have 6 animals. So it could be 6 cats, 6 dogs, a combination of everything. But I actually thought that was interesting that in a city, they were putting an ordinance on how many animals you could own at your own property. City lots are all different sizes. The house that I grew up, we lived in the city and we had 3 city lots. It probably was close to 6 acres right in the city, in a very small little town. And if we'd have showed up with animals there, I guarantee one of our neighbors would have been on the phone squawking about it. We never had more than like a stray cat that we kind of kept around. Little Lucky Cat, he probably was around at least 16 years, and he made the move when my mom moved out of town, out to the country, and lived out there for a long time. So there's a question. Oh, what's my favorite thing to grow? Rhubarb. Asparagus is okay too, but well, I'll tell you, asparagus is big rooty plants, and digging them up. I've had asparagus here when we moved here. Rhubarb will totally grow on its own. It produces for years. We have rhubarb here that I moved from my mom's house, that she moved from her old house, and it does well all year round. So we make pie, we make rhubarb crisp. My daughter and my granddaughter love rhubarb crisp, and you can do rhubarb bread, rhubarb cake. It's real good for your stomach. All the processed food, I just would imagine that the way that rhubarb cleans out your insides, don't overeat it because you'll be in the bathroom. Place in hotel.
I think you just
Well, but it's going on and on. No, I have not ever grown Aramanth. And to your other question, what's the one show you'll make time to watch? Well, I make time to watch The Young and the Restless. It is an afternoon soap opera. Same people that have been on it since I was a little kid. And it's garbage. But it is an hour a day that, you know, if it's on and I have time to watch it, I'll eat my lunch and watch it. I usually miss it or catch 10 minutes of it. But right now, kids are liking watching Young Sheldon. And what was the other one? Black Lightning that you used to watch?
Yeah.
But we don't turn on the TV enough to know what the schedule is for their shows. So a lot of times we watch things in rerun. All-time household favorite TV show? Baker Living knows what it is.
George.
Can you guess?
What?
Yes, we do like Curious George too. Gilmore Girls.
Oh, yeah.
It's been off the air for years. We have it on DVD. We are on our third set of DVDs because we borrowed my daughter's, sent them back to her, bought her another set of her own new because Jack was watching it and they ended up everywhere.
Scratched up.
It was an eBay purchase and they were pirated, pirated much. So, you know, sometimes they didn't play or whatever, so it was fine. We ended up getting a third set. I don't remember where we were. But I found a girl on Craigslist that was selling some that was almost brand new. Like she'd watched them once, went off to college and sold them. So now we have a set. It's good and all our own. So yeah, we kind of watch pretty much either Gilmore Girls. A long time ago, we used to watch The Office. They like that a lot. I'm so over that. The show was on when Jack was little.
How many people are watching right
I can't answer that.
now? Okay.
And what else did we watch? Oh, we watched Shameless for a while. That one was really vulgar, very, very bad. The kids can't be in the room when that's on. We used to watch The Sopranos. But yeah, like I said, TV's just changed a lot. And it's all just kind of distractions from what you should be learning or seeing. So we just kind of watch YouTube for our TV now. We watch a lot of documentaries and history. Jack is kind of a history buff and a train buff. We like to know how things work. I can't, like, the week, it's only on once a week. He likes to watch the Innovation Nation with Maraca, and it is at the Henry Ford Museum in Detroit. So if you look back in some of our previous videos, we went there for the kids' birthdays last year. This is dripping on me. Hi, Bron. So not a whole lot. You know, Saturday cartoons aren't even the way they were when I was growing up at all. And a lot of it they just can't play now because they say it's racist. They would never play Speedy Gonzales kind of stuff on TV now. Yeah. A lot of politically incorrect things. Incorrect. I teach my kids.
Your grammar is incorrect.
My grammar is incorrect. They're comfortable enough with me as their teacher and their mom that they correct me, and I correct them. And sometimes I snap at them for correcting me because we don't always want to be corrected, do we? That's right. These Nilla wafers, they started. This is not an endorsement in any way. Lemon Nilla wafers. They're so good. I like to snack on these when I come in from working. I usually work myself to death outside, so I'm usually ready to drop and I need something in my mouth right now. So I usually start out my day. We got the little mini brewer and make a pot of coffee. It's 2 cups of coffee, only because I kind of drink it half milk, half coffee. And of course I sweeten it with maple syrup. Sometimes I sweeten it with honey too. It's okay, but it has a much stronger flavor. The maple syrup is a much milder flavor. No. Well, guys, Whiny Baby here is dictating the show. The sun's going down pretty soon, and I'm going to have to feed those animals dinner before it gets dark. So I think we better wrap this up. I'm glad any of you could join us today. If you're watching this on replay, hi, sorry we missed you. We gave this about a 2 or a 3 day heads up so that anybody would know about it. And there's always quirks and things to work out. So, how do I find the time for YouTube? YouTube is my break in the afternoon when I take my lunch or when I'm so tired that I can't do anything outside. Fortunately, with the size of small cameras and with the size of my cell phone, I've just always got a camera with me. And if I think something is interesting or want to share it with you, I can film it. Sometimes I go a week without editing anything together at all. And I've just learned, don't hit stop on the camera too much because it's easier to edit out some of it if there's problems to take out, like a kid crying, than to get a bunch of clips, find them, all the individual files, and get them compacted together. So Becky has a song for you to say goodbye, everybody. So consider this your end credits. Sing. Is there anything else? We'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching. Remember to hit the like button if you like some of our comments. Leave your comments down below and join us for the next live stream. I will post it up plenty ahead of time so that everybody has the time to jump in with your comments. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.